We're going to use some half-angle identities here to find some exact values. We're starting off with sine of x is -3/5 and x is in quadrant 3. I'm looking for the sine of x over 2. Well, I don't know exactly what x is. I don't know what its measure is. All I know it's in quadrant 3. What I really need to know is where x over 2 is. Where's the terminal side of the angle x over 2? But we can figure that out. If x is in quadrant 3, that means it's between pi and 3 pi over 2. That's nice, but what I really need to know is where is x over 2? Well, I'm going to divide x by 2. And if I divide everybody else by 2, that inequality is preserved. We're allowed to do that, divide all the parts of the inequality by 2. So I get x over 2 is between pi over 2, and let's see, dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. Half of 3 pi over 2 is 3 pi over 4. So x over 2 is in quadrant 2. Well, if x over 2 is in quadrant 2, sine values are positive, tangent values are negative. So now I know the signs, SIGNs. Now we just have to find the values. So identities for sine of x over 2 looks like this. I know it's going to be the positive version, square root 1 minus cosine x over 2. And for the tangent, essentially it's the sine over the cosine. I'm going to want the negative. So 1 minus cosine x over 1 plus cosine x. Okay, so I have the sine of x, and that's nice, but what I really need is the cosine of x. So we're going to have to figure out what that is. I'm going to draw my picture of x in quadrant 3. There it is. Its sine value is -3/5. There's my reference triangle with one leg in the x-axis. Y values are negative. R is always positive. Maybe we'll try a 5 instead of an R. And my third side, this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. In quadrant 3, x values are also negative. And if you don't recognize that, that's okay. You'll use the Pythagorean theorem and find the third side is -4. Well, now I know that the cosine of x, which figures prominently in both of those identities, is -4/5. I think we have all the information now. We're ready to go. Sine of x over 2 is positive, the square root of 1 minus cosine x was -4/5 over 2. Well, that's 1 plus 4/5, so that's 9/5. Over 2. Dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. The square root of 9, we can do that one. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 10, not so much, so we'll just leave it down there. It's okay if you don't rationalize. And there is the value of sine of x over 2. For the tangent, we get to fill in that -4/5, both top and bottom. And then it's all over but the math, but the arithmetic. It's all math. So let's see, 1 minus -4/5. We already know that one. We did that before. That's 9/5. 1 plus negative 4/5 sounds like 1/5. Well, if I have 9/5 divided by 1/5, think of multiplying by the reciprocal. I don't need the fifths at all. I just have minus the square root of 9. Please don't stop there. We know that one. Square root of 9 is 3, so negative 3.